We had a very good meeting with a youth football group last night that is putting their entire program on FirstDown PlayBook. And their thought is that from ages 5 really up through high school, they're trying to get everybody on the same page, and they needed one central place where all their coaches could go. And that's what FirstDown PlayBook can do for you. But one of the things that came up in the conversation, and we want to take a minute today to go over it, is they made the point that we need to identify better about personnel groupings. Pretty universal across football, but we will take some time right here to talk about what the different numbers mean when we identify personnel on offense and really defense with FirstDown PlayBook. The way we identify our players on FirstDown PlayBook, typically at the varsity level, is that the red players are receivers, the green players are running backs or backs, and the blue players are tight ends. So the way we identify the personnel that's on the field is a very simple method that's been used for years and years and years in the NFL and college football and just football in general, is you identify the number of backs on the field first and the number of tight ends on the field second. There are only 5 eligible receivers on the field at any time in 11-man football. So if you do the math and you identify 2 backs, 1 tight end, you know that there are going to be 2 receivers on the field. So we call that 21 personnel. The defense normally will respond in kind with base personnel, meaning that they're going to have 4 or 3 defensive linemen, depending on if they're a 4-3 or a 3-4, but they'll have 4 defensive backs, 7 big guys and 4 defensive backs. Now, if you were to go 11 personnel on offense, this fullback would come out here and now become a slot receiver. So now we have 3 wideouts on the field. The defense may or may not match personnel, but if they did, it would probably be what we would call a nickel will. But now, once again, we have 1 back on the field and we have 1 tight end on the field. All right? So there are 3 other players remaining. We call it 11 personnel. So now you've got 1 back, 1 tight end, and 3 wideouts. 11 personnel. The defense can or may not match personnel and now bring a nickel in the game, and there are 5 defensive backs and 6 bigger guys in the game. If the offense wanted to take it one step further and go 10 personnel, they could do such. They could take this tight end right here, flex them out. Now, this is irregardless of formation. You could line up in a 2-by-2 formation like we are here, or it could be a 3-by-1. This has nothing really to do with formation. This is just personnel. So now, once again, back to our system, 10 personnel. 1 back, no tight ends in the game. That means you've got 4 receivers, regardless if it's going to be a 3-by-1 to either side or whatever. Now the defense, once again, could match. They could actually bring in another player and call it a dime player. And they could play it in some fashion or form like this, maybe tuck their strong safety inside. But once again, now what you're getting to is you've got 5 big players in the game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs in the game trying to match personnel. Up to the defense entirely if they want to do that. Let's go the other direction with it. Let's go 12 personnel. If you have 12 personnel, our system tells us that now you've got 1 back in the game and you've got 2 tight ends in the game. So we'll change the color right here. Make it a legal formation. Once again, 1 back, 2 tight ends. You know that now you've got 2 receivers left to have 5 eligibles. It might be a 3-by-1 set, or it might be a 2-by-2. The tight ends might actually even get in a wing set over here. However you want to do it. The defense will likely treat 12 personnel the same way that they would 21 personnel. more than likely line up in base defense. 4 defensive backs in the game. And finally, there are situations to where the offense could get into a heavy package with 22 or even 23 or 32 packages on the goal line. But a 22 package, if you think about it, in our system, that means there are 2 backs in the game and 2 tight ends in the game. We'll take this wide out, bring them over here, make them a fullback. Get in a strong set. And now at this point right here, once again, you have 2 backs, 2 tight ends. There's only 1 player remaining, and that would be a receiver. Sometimes what the defense will do if you do that, they will take out a corner and bring in an extra backer and play them wherever they want to. But now, because you're lined up in bigger personnel, they want to play with 3 defensive backs and get 8 bigger players in here to obviously defend the run game. So, to finish up here, once again, our system on offense is that we name the running backs first, the number of the running backs, the number of tight ends on the field, and you take that number, subtract it from 5, and that'll tell you how many receivers are on the field, and that's how you come up with your numbering system for your offensive personnel.